Alrighty, hello and welcome everyone. Thanks for joining this week's KETIV AVA, which is our webinar on Autodesk's latest product access option, Flex. Today, I'll be reviewing Autodesk's new Flex offering, how it compares to the current named user subscription platform, and share ways to determine if it's a good fit for you and your team. Now, my name's Long. I manage the subscription renewal team here at KETIV, where we empower today's innovators and manufacturers for a better tomorrow. And part of that is prepping you for the future. Now, I've been with, just in case you guys haven't met me before, that's my face. I've been with the KETIV team for nearly 5 years now and have worked with a variety of different customers located all over the US and overseas, from small shops to multinational corporations. Now, there's many of you that I recognize when I see the names pour in, but for those of you that I haven't had the opportunity to personally meet yet, I manage the subscription renewal team here at KETIV, along with directly working with our customers regarding many aspects of different areas of licensing. And I work in partnership with Autodesk to provide the best and creative licensing solutions to meet our customers' needs in the most cost-effective way available. I'm part of the customer success team, right? A team that at KETIV that's dedicated to guiding customers to successful application and adoption of the products and services that we have offering. I also have here in the background Christina, who's going to be responding to questions in chat. So please add your questions to the chat room, and we'll address them either during the webinar or at the end in our Q&A session. Now, some of you may have attended that just a small handful of AVA webinars that I've hosted in the past, like transition to named user licensing session, or when I reviewed the premium plan in full detail. Today's webinar will go over one of Autodesk's latest releases for product access, specifically tailored towards companies that have infrequent or occasional users. As always, we welcome all questions and comments. So again, post your thoughts in the boxes below. For today's session though, I'll go through a general breakdown of Autodesk Flex, right? So that includes first and foremost, just going over a quick review of Autodesk's transitions over the past 5 years. Going through a few challenges and feedback we've heard from our customers and shared with Autodesk. Autodesk's Flex access option in response to the general feedback. I'll then jump into a quick overview of benefits with this new option, how it works, and how to determine if Flex would be a good fit for you and your team. All right, lastly, I'll absolutely jump into share how we can help you get there. So we'll start off with just an early transition back in about 2017. Historically, Autodesk, like many other technology companies in the past, right, their licensing platform used to exist as perpetual licenses with maintenance plan, right? What that meant was customers back then would purchase the software upfront for a large sum of money, and then pay an annual maintenance fee to get the latest updates, the latest versions, previous use rights, travel rights, and all the other benefits that come along with it. Now, mid-2017 was when they started making the transition to subscription-based licensing, which is essentially term-based licensing. No longer are the days that there's a requirement of a large upfront cost to own the software first. So there's a lower cost of entry to gain the subscription, and you pay essentially for the amount of time or the term length that you'd like the subscription or to utilize the subscription, whether it's a 1 year, 3 year, or aligned with any existing contracts that you may have. They called this transition M2S, or maintenance to subscription. About a year and a half ago though, so mid 2020, Autodesk then announced that they are transitioning to named user subscription licensing. All right. This focus was to start moving towards a licensing plan that's based on people and no longer based on serial numbers. All right. With named user licensing, each user is assigned their own license, right? And so they have dedicated access to that license themselves. They're assigned the license within their Autodesk account portal. And then with that, Autodesk released a couple different plans available for that. By default, any single user or named user license that's purchased is automatically on the standard plan. They also have the premium plan available for customers with a minimum of 50 named user eligible products. And it offers more administrative control over the licensing themselves. And I'll highlight in the next slide a few of the features and benefits of premium plan. But with this transition over to named user subscription licensing, Autodesk then released an offer for this transition called 2-for-1 trade-in. And what it basically says is that customers who have a current multi-user subscription or network-based license, during the time of their renewal, they'll have the option to use a 2-for-1 trade-in offer, which allows the customer to trade in each multi-user subscription and receive 2 named user subscriptions in its place at no additional cost. So for example, if I had a contract coming due in January, right, that has a multi-user subscription that would normally cost $1,000 to renew, during that time in January, I can trade in that multi-user subscription and receive 2 named user subscriptions in its place at $500 a piece. Right. Now, obviously the cost of the licenses would vary based on the product, based on the transitions, whether or not it was previously on the maintenance plan that switched over to subscription. So contact us then we can go through some details of your contracts to see whether or not you are eligible to transition either from maintenance to subscription or from multi-user subscriptions to named user subscriptions. And then we can help discuss and determine whether or not Flex would be a good fit for you. Now, as I mentioned, premium plan was introduced as an uplift plan that offers more administrative control over the licenses. So some of the benefits that it does include are things like higher security and automated sign-in processes with single sign-on integration. With this, there's also a development of a sync feature with Microsoft Active Directory. Also, with premium plan, a lot of data can also be collected, and usage reports are built into your Autodesk account portal. But with premium plan, the usage reports can dial into user details per user, sharing information for your users like how many days over the last 3 months or so have they spent within Autodesk products, which products did they utilize, open up, and work in, what's their trend of usage on a week-to-week basis, what version of the product they're using. So there's a variety of different details that that's reported with the premium plan in there. And over on the right, for customers who have international locations, the premium plan does allow for global centralized license purchasing and license management, essentially allowing for their centralized headquartered parent company to be able to purchase and manage all of the licenses from a centralized location and assign licenses to users anywhere in the world. Now, with this transition over to the named user platform, all right, I'd say about 90 to 95% of our customers have made the transition over already, utilizing that 2-for-1 trade-in. But there has been feedback, of course, to Autodesk. We've had some of our customers express it on our side. We've heard from Autodesk that they've heard similar stories from their customers and their interactions as well. And a lot of the concern comes from, is this the right fit for users that don't need a dedicated access all the time? What if I'm not spending 8 hours a day, 7 days a week within the tools? So I'd like to get to know what you guys are thinking. Let's start up a poll right now to see what you guys are experiencing within your teams. All right. So the majority of our Autodesk customers have either, again, made the transition or at least are aware and discussed how it's going to impact your current licensing needs internally. So go ahead and check out the poll, all right? And you can click on all that apply. First point there, I feel like I'm wasting money purchasing individual licenses for users who only need occasional or infrequent access to Autodesk products. Second point, I'm spending far too much time inside my Autodesk account portal to add and manage users or products when my time is more valuable elsewhere. Third point there, I've heard about some other Autodesk products. Seems to be very interesting, cool capabilities, functionality, but it's far too expensive to purchase and commit to a full-term subscription without testing or trying it out first. All right. And let's see what we can pull up here. I'm sure many of you have had similar conversations when discussing licensing, named user licenses, the movement over to assigned based usage. All right, so I got some of the results in here. Looks like the majority of you actually have experienced the third point, right? I've heard about some other Autodesk tools, Autodesk products, interesting capabilities, other functionalities, but far too expensive to purchase and commit to a full term. And about half of you align with that first point. I feel like I'm wasting a lot of money purchasing individual licenses for users who don't really need access all the time. Right. And then, so if it sounds like these, like any of these challenges are a priority for you before discussing and considering the named user platform, as well as heading over to consider the Flex tool, Flex can provide a solution for you. So if you're looking to save money on users who only need occasional product access, or looking to save time when needing to add users or products quickly, especially with immediate needs, right? Flex might be a good fit for you. Here are some of the top benefits that Flex can provide. With Flex, you can optimize costs by only paying for what you use. Now, this is you can consider this an alternative option for users that only need access a limited number of times throughout the year. Now, Autodesk Flex also increases productivity with faster procurement and less time spent on administration for new users and products. With the Flex option, you would assign users to the Flex option itself, right? And it helps give immediate access to the products they need, whether it's short-lived or like during an approval process, purchasing process, or ordering process, while all of that's working its way through, or if you feel or the user needs complete immediate access as soon as they tell you, Flex would be a good option to do so. And then lastly, there is lower risk when your users want to try a new product in the design process because of the flexibility and access of being available for the users included in Flex. Now, what is it? All right, I keep saying this keyword here, Autodesk Flex. Autodesk Flex is a new usage-based purchasing option that offers access to the tools that you want when you want it. Autodesk listened to the feedback of customers like yourselves that you've shared. Not all users need consistent, dedicated access to their tools multiple times per week. You know, I mean, all of us have experience in some way, form, shape, that when we have part-time interns, infrequent consultants, leadership team check-ins, and those times and situations during work or with projects when access to a different Autodesk tool would just be so much easier, faster, much more accurate way to complete the task. Autodesk created the solution that would fit your needs and enable you to continue accessing your tools with flexible pricing and flexible commitments. All right. With the addition of Flex, you can have pay-as-you-go access using tokens for users who have occasional product use needs. You'll be able to purchase a bulk sum of tokens upfront, assign an unlimited number of users to Flex so that they can access their software anytime. And the tokens are only applied for the days that the products are being used. This is best utilized for occasional or infrequent users that just don't need that consistent access throughout the course of the week. Some of the key features of Flex. We understand that Autodesk products are unique and tailored to each of the industries that they serve. That's why it set out to create a way for companies to have more flexibility when it comes to purchasing costs and commitments for products, and to make even a larger array of products available and accessible to you and your user team. By incorporating feedback from customers who have faced challenges like we discussed earlier, Flex provides access for occasional users and specialized product usage. It does also offer access to top products and ability to try new products without the commitment, without the significant upfront cost. And it's based on a daily rate. And it provides an option to better align and optimize usage costs when being utilized in a hybrid fashion with your current subscriptions. All right. The dedicated users that you do have on your team, the ones that need access multiple times a week, consistent access throughout the course of the year, they can absolutely still have an signed subscription license. And then the occasional users, the ones that don't need access as many times, or maybe a handful of times throughout the month, those are the users that Flex would be a best fit for. This allows you to keep your discounted M2S seats, 2-for-1 trade-in, named user seats, and any other discount program that you're grandfathered into. You can continue utilizing and accessing the full subscriptions of those, and purchasing Flex tokens for an as-needed, pay-as-you-go process for assigning and getting access for the licenses for those users. Flex is another option available to you as you take on the multi-user 2-for-1 trade-in, move to named user licenses, and a way for them to buy product access for their occasional and infrequent users with low commitment. And it looks like I do have a question here. It says, what is the cost per day? You are jumping in really ahead of the game here because I have this on the next slide. Here's an example of what you can expect with Flex. Right. The way that Flex essentially works is that purchasing the tokens in a large bulk sum ahead of time, right, would allow your portal to show access to Flex. And for users who are assigned into the Flex program, they could utilize any of the products that are eligible. Some of the more popular ones here on the screen. Each product requires a different quantity of tokens that are utilized per day. Tokens currently at its base cost is approximately $3 per $3 per token, right? So for example, AutoCAD requires 7 tokens for access for 1 day, which essentially comes out to $21. And that would get the user complete full access to the full capabilities of AutoCAD. When you purchase Flex tokens, the tokens are shown inside your portal and it's trackable in there. I will go through a bit of that later on in another slide. But when the user who has a assignment to Flex, when they open up their AutoCAD product on their system, then that would trigger the quantity of tokens required to be subtracted from the total amount. So when they start up AutoCAD and sign in, then 7 tokens are immediately subtracted. And then they have full, complete access to AutoCAD for 24 hours. At the end of the 24 hours, should they have completed their task before then, they just need to log out of the tool, which would then end the quote unquote session for them. And should they happen to keep it open, that will be recognized as an additional day. So again, another 7 tokens would be consumed. All right. So I have another poll here for you guys, just to get a kind of an idea of the type of team members that you would imagine this would work for. Now, most of us have varying team members that want or need access to Autodesk products throughout the year. In some cases, rearrangement of product assignment is required to get them access without spending more money on a full 1-year or 3-year subscription, especially if they sparingly open those products. So how many of you, and this is a pick all that apply type of poll, but how many of you have found or have these type of team members in your group? First one being someone from the executive or leadership team, someone that seldom needs access to products, but it's highly important that they do when they need it. Secondly, periodic consultants, temporary hires, some team members that were contracted based on project needs. These team members may sometimes need to use a product to execute or complete the function that they were brought on board to complete. The third one, Design and or engineering team members that request products or specialty products, different capabilities, rarely used functionalities, right? Where they may request it because the tool itself that they're requesting may be the best fit for the task at hand, but potentially not utilized consistently throughout the course of the year. And then the last one, short-term interns that occasionally need minimal access to complete tasks that help the overall team. All right. So looking at the results that we have here, looks like most of you can see Flex being a good fit for point number 3. Design and engineering team members that are request access to products, technology, functionality, capabilities that are rarely used, but could significantly impact how they do their work. And then there's also a high percentage of you selecting number 1 and number 4. Number 1 being having executive team members, leadership team members that seldomly need access to the products, but it's definitely important that they get the access when they need it. And then also on the opposite end, having short-term interns that occasionally need just minimal access to help the overall team. All of you are correct though. This is exactly how Flex can be a benefit. These for the type of occasional usage that you're recognizing here. Now, Flex versus subscription. And how does it actually work? Using the named user subscription platform, we've familiarized ourselves with the portal, Autodesk account portal, over the last year. So here's how it works with Flex and how it compares to the full term subscriptions. I'll start with Flex, just a breakdown in 4 easy steps. Right. To attain and utilize Flex, there are 4 easy steps to go through. First one, buying the tokens for the team. You can estimate the number of tokens that you need based on usage data. We can always help walk you through that and determine that with you. Step 2, assign the users to Flex in your Autodesk account portal. You can give them access to all products included with Flex or a subset, completely up to you. Step 3, every time a Flex user opens up a product, tokens are automatically consumed for their session. Tokens are charged when the user opens up the product, and they can use the product for 24 hours before they get charged again. It's important though to remember that the users need to close the product when they're finished for the day to stop the token charges past 24 hours. And then step 4, in the reporting section of your Autodesk account portal, it allows you to track usage and spending. So keep in mind that tokens expire after 1 year and do not roll over. So you want to monitor your usage closely and ensure you're using it efficiently, while also maintaining a large enough quantity so the users can access when they need access the tools when they need it. Now I'm going to go through each step and how it compares to the current term-based subscription licensing. Step 1, with purchasing. For Flex, as I mentioned, you would purchase a sum of tokens up front Now, the quantity is based on occasional usage needs. Recommendation here for users averaging, there's a recommended option for users averaging 2 or less days of access per week. It starts at, as I was mentioning earlier, about $3 per token. It starts at $1,500 for 500 tokens. And consumption rate is based on product. Again, reach out to us to discuss this and how it could benefit you and your team directly. And we can share the eligibility list of products, as well as discuss what each of the products consumption rates are. It's also important to note that pack pricing is also available for larger quantities at discounted costs. So there are bulk discounts if you're looking into Flex and tokens. Tokens can be purchased at any time. They have a lifespan of 1 year, and they're consumed in the order of purchase. So if you were to buy 500 tokens now to utilize for Flex, and 3 months down the line, you do feel that you need to increase the quantity of tokens because of the consumption rate that you're tracking, you can add another 500 tokens at that time, even if you haven't completed the consumption of the first 500, maybe there's 200 left. That 200 would be consumed before the next 500 start being consumed. So that way, the 1 year lifespan for your tokens can consistently be maximized. Now, excuse me, comparing that to single user subscriptions, these full term subscriptions are available for 1 year or 3 year terms, or they're prorated to align with existing contracts. It offers unlimited access to products users are assigned to, regardless of the amount of time they access it. Right? It's not a daily usage. It's an unlimited amount of usage throughout the course of the term. Customers grandfathered into the maintenance to subscription or the named user 2-for-1 trade-in discount programs can retain their low-cost licenses. Renewal of these licenses come at the end of the subscription term. There's no risk of losing access during an active subscription term, especially if there was not enough tokens to be utilized for Flex. Adding and assigning the users. So a couple of screenshots here. All right. For Flex, there is a Flex. When you add Flex, there's a Flex option in here. And you would assign the number of users or upload the number of users into Flex and assign them. And they would have access to the products. And the way that Autodesk recognizes the consumption is when Flex is applied to that user. Alternatively, with single user subscriptions on the right-hand side, which many of you may be familiar with how this works in the portal now, users are uploaded and directly assigned a product that's available. And if they are assigned a product, they have complete access to the product as many times as they need it throughout the course of the subscription term, as long as they continue to stay assigned to the product. Administrators can also unassign and reassign users to different products as needed. There are some additional tools to help make assignment easy. With Flex Access, you do have the option to either give the users who will be part of Flex complete access to any tool that they want to utilize, or you can select a subset of products that you'd like them to have access to. And then this is available for both subscription and for Flex for within the portal, but uploading a CSV file with user information is available so that you would be able to upload a large quantity of users, usernames, email addresses, and user information in bulk so that you're not spending hours upon hours adding names and email addresses per line. Step 3, users accessing the products and using them. So a quick matrix here of the comparison between Flex access and single user subscription access. First one being user access. With Flex, the access is based, with Flex and subscriptions, accessing is based on opening up the product and signing in. There's virtually no difference between the user experiences for accessing single user subscriptions and with Flex. So from their end, they react to it exactly the same way. Does Flex need to be connected to the internet? Yes, because it needs to stay on that 24-hour cycle so it can be tracked. So offline allowance is 24 hours with Flex, as in the Flex user would need to stay connected to or have internet access at least once every 24 hours so that their license can be validated, the token consumption can be validated. With single user subscriptions, the same validation would be required, but it goes in 30-day cycles. So once every 30 days, there needs to be an internet connection in order for Autodesk to validate that the subscription is still active and utilized by the person it's assigned to. Charging or purchasing. Users on Flex or using Flex are charged a daily product rate every 24 hours until the product is closed. Again, you need to, with Flex, you need to remind each user that if they are opening up a product with Flex access, they need to close the product once they're done using the tool in order to stop the consumption. Now with single user subscriptions, users can access as many times as they want, unlimited number of times as needed throughout the course of the subscription term. And then
Long, you do have a question about that. Christine is asking, can an admin close a user session if they haven't logged out after a certain amount of time, or if they're using more tokens? Can the admin log them out?
I will, I don't know the answer to that one right off the top of my head. I can go back and check with Autodesk on that. It's my understanding that unless you are accessing the system for the user, that you wouldn't be able to log them out specifically. But I'll double check to see what other functionalities that Autodesk may have created or put in place for Flex that will help mitigate that.
Okay.
The other potential option, so to speak, is that users need to be assigned to Flex in order for them to be able to access tools with a Flex access consumption rate. So unassignment may potentially work too, but I'll double check with our Autodesk team and the Autodesk Flex team to give you a direct answer.
Awesome. And then Jerry also wants to know if he uses AutoCAD for 1 hour, does that use the full 7 tokens?
Yes, it does. So Autodesk does not have a consumption rate in an hourly fashion. It's only on a daily rate. So as soon as a user opens up the product and signs in, then 7 tokens are automatically consumed. And so whether they decide to use it for that hour or use it for 24 hours, the 7 tokens allows access for the entirety of the 24 hours.
Okay, I think that makes sense. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you so much. And you guys have amazing questions adding in here, so please keep sharing them. Alrighty. Now the last part, step 4, usage reports. All right. This time I'll start on the right-hand side. Many of you with single user subscriptions may have familiarity with the seat usage reports within your Autodesk account portal. So you can see over here on the right-hand side, the usage report that shows for subscriptions gives an aggregate view, an aggregate high-level view of products that are utilized and the total number of users that have access to each of those products. On the left-hand side with Flex, you do still get reporting for token usage. So what you'll be able to see is the different products, right? And the number of tokens that have been consumed with the use of that product already. Yeah, usage reports, they do differ a bit between the standard and premium plan. So what you see here, of course, on screen is on the standard plan. Okay, and with that, how do we, moving forward here, how do we figure out which option works best for you and your team? Or if a hybrid approach would prove to be the most cost-effective route for you. So first and foremost, we want to make sure that we're picking the right type of access for your users, depending on the type of access they need. So another matrix here for you guys. With subscriptions, right? Subscriptions are meant or intended for frequent users. Team members that need an average of 3 or more, or access to the product 3 or more times a week, or a more generalized view is 8 or more times per month. The subscription terms are available annually or on 3-year, or they're, for some products, there is a monthly option online. With the products on subscription, you buy the subscription to the specific products, and that user would be assigned to that specific product, and they have access to only that product throughout the course of the subscription term. There are, of course, product packages available, like the collection, that they can users can have access to a multitude of different products based on what's included in that collection. Offline access being 30 days with subscriptions, or up to 30 days with subscriptions, and the plans are available, of course, are standard and premium. Now with Flex access, again, this is intended for occasional users. Right, and then with the term, tokens expire after 1 year, and you can purchase more tokens as needed whenever you wanted to access them. The access or the purchasing on the product is one of the primary differences here. Again, with subscriptions, you would purchase subscriptions to specific products for access or dedicated access to that product over the course of the subscription term. But with Flex, it's a purchase of tokens for accessing products. And those tokens, again, can be consumed to apply for a multitude and very wide range of top products from Autodesk. So where this becomes a bigger benefit is accessing a multitude of, or having access to a multitude of different products and capabilities and technology users are now not limited to only using the tool that they are assigned to. And the most of the risk is mitigated for access or having minimal access or testing access even for tools that they're interested in. So when do we want to consider using single user subscriptions? Again, if your users are accessing products 2 or more days per week, they're probably not a good fit for Flex. In this example of a general usage report on the standard plan within your Autodesk account portal, on here, it shows that 50% of users are accessing these tools, right, for 2 to 3 days per week in the green. And then the other 50% are accessing it 4+ days per week. So these users are not a good fit for Flex because of the consistency of access that they need. Flex should be considered if you have users accessing products roughly about 1 day per week, or if we look at a more holistic view, 7 days or less per month. In this example, 100% of the users here are accessing that product 1 day per week. This is the type of user, based on just the usage reports, that would be a good fit for Flex. All right, so that's in a nutshell the high-level overview of what is Flex, what does it do, how do we attain it, how can we apply it. Now that I've gone over what this new Flex offering is, right, the last part is next steps for adding it. So how to determine if Flex is right for you? First and foremost, again, highly recommend that you schedule time to plan ahead with KETIV. Right. On this first call or initial call to discuss Flex, we'll review your contract licenses, right? See what's aligned with the named user platform, see what's eligible for Flex access, and then really dial into what are you using today and how what's the quantity of users who need access, as well as where's the split lie between users who need consistent access and users who need occasional access. Then we'll also discuss current and future licensing needs based on usage reports and expected growth. And from there, we'll work together with you to create game plans that fulfill usage requirements and product advancement. And within that game plan is where we'll start to develop whether or brainstorm ideas on whether or not Flex is a right fit and for which group it would be a good fit for. So at the bottom of this slide deck here, you'll see my direct line and my direct email address. Please feel free to jot it down, save it, and reach out to me to schedule time to discuss whether or not Flex is a tool that can be well utilized within your organization. All right, again, a lot of you had some amazing questions earlier that we responded to during the call. So if you do have any additional questions, please feel free to add them to your chat boxes below now.
I do see one right now. It says, is Autodesk CFD part of Flex?
Autodesk CFD will be part of Flex eventually. I don't believe they've added it just yet. Actually, a very interesting topic here. Autodesk CFD historically is only or was only offered as a multi-user subscription or networked access. And it wasn't until 1 week ago, on October 7th, was when Autodesk finally released a single user access or single user access deployment of CFD. So now CFD, Autodesk CFD is available as a named user license. However, I believe they're still working on adding it to the Flex program or Flex Access. And as soon as I do here, when it gets added and the number of tokens it would be required to access it for the daily rate, we can absolutely share more information about this with you. Thank you so much for the question, though.
Great, thanks, Lon.
I have some other questions coming in on the slide over here. How long do I have to utilize my tokens, and do they roll over from year to year? No, the tokens, again, have a shelf life of 1 year. So the quantity of tokens that you do purchase needs to be consumed within the 1 year, and they do not roll over from a year-to-year base. The recommendation here, though, and part of the discussion, if you were looking to add Flex to your arsenal, is to consider Flex in a conservative fashion for a shorter period of time, and understanding how much usage would be needed and how much access to Flex would be needed over the course of the short time. And then we can better estimate how many tokens would be needed for a longer period of time, like a year. So for example, if we were to determine or purchase 500 tokens for with the expectation of utilizing the tokens over the 6-month span of time, when we get to the 6-month mark, or if we are already running low on tokens, we'll have a more clear picture of how many more tokens we'll need for the remainder of that year. And then, of course, being able to better determine now on a yearly basis how many tokens would be needed. Can I have let's see, another user over here says, can I have a mix of both subscriptions and Flex for my team? Answer to that is yes, absolutely. Admins can have a complete mix of subscriptions and Flex access. Subscription or full single user subscriptions are best fit for users who just need consistent access, right? And Flex access is best utilized by team members who only need occasional or infrequent access. Or another use case that I've talked to some of my customers about is immediate access. So some of our customers have purchased a sum of tokens, right, so that they can utilize for immediate requests. There are many times when a user would reach out to them and say that they just started working on a project. They need access to AutoCAD and Inventor yesterday. Now, going through the process of purchasing a subscription for them of each, or the product design and manufacturing collection that has both, although that may prove to be the tool that they need or the package unit that they need, immediate access to AutoCAD or Inventor would be far faster with Flex using tokens, because the tokens are already purchased up front. You would simply add that user to the Flex access in your portal, and they would have access to both tools immediately. All right, and I have another final question that I'll address here. It came in. What happens when I run out of tokens and my users try to open a product? Great question. If your team does not have enough tokens, right, users will lose access to Flex and they're not going to be able to open up the product itself. All right. So you can see this in two different ways, of course. If you have just enough tokens, right, then you can have the users access the tools for as many number of days that they need it. But the recommendation is when determining the quantity of tokens that's needed by your team, to consider an additional pocket, like a backup quantity to keep included within the portal for times like not being able to access products because there's not enough tokens, as well as considering the amount of tokens that are needed on a cyclical manner, right? So every 2 months, 3 months, every quarter, half year, having a running gauge of how many tokens are consumed and a threshold before ordering more may also prove to be an easier route to determine that. All right, I did see another question jump in. I know we're at the end of our time here. I'm going to try to just respond to this one really quickly though. It says, what if a user is working on something and leaves the program open for a day, forgets to shut it down, and after the first day is over, we have run out of tokens? Will the program let the user save their file? I can double check with that. I don't know the answer right off the top of my head. It's my understanding that the access to the usage and capabilities of the tool is shut down. So essentially, it's similar to subscriptions, where if a user was assigned a product, they were utilizing the product, and then they were unassigned and they can no longer access it. It'd be something along the same lines, but we are going to take that question down and respond back to you directly. And I'll make sure that we have Autodesk's clear answer on that one. All right. Thank you so much, though. I appreciate that question. All right, that's all the time I have for you guys today. Again, please feel free to reach out to us anytime with questions and to set up some time to discuss whether or not Flex is a good fit for you. I appreciate everyone joining this webinar. Have a great weekend.